let's bring in Josephine McKenna, who is watching every twist and turn of this story for us from her perch in Rome. Josephine, as ever, pleasure to have you on the programme. Great to see you. Yet another twist. Please explain.
Mark, would you have predicted it? We've seen so many prime ministers come and go in the last week, I don't know where we are. But today, Carlo Cottarelli, the candidate, the technocratic candidate for Prime Minister, stepped aside when it was clear that he couldn't get a majority through Parliament for a technocratic government. And at the same time, the head of the Five Star Movement, Luigi Di Maio, the head of the League, Matteo Salvini, got together with their preferred candidate for Prime Minister, Giuseppe Conte, the lawyer from Florence who has no political experience, is a complete novice, and put together their list of ministers which have been approved by President Sergio Mattarella tonight. So we do have a government. Giuseppe Conte is the new Prime Minister, and significantly these two leaders reached a compromise on withdrawing Paolo Savona, the controversial candidate for Finance Minister, the Eurosceptic economist. He has been relegated to the post of Minister for European Affairs. It's a face-saving exercise. He won't have a lot of power. And the new Finance Minister will be Giovanni Tria, who is an economist and a professor at one of Rome's universities. So some musical chairs there. Giuseppe Conte said in a small statement tonight that this new government was committed to working intensely on the program of change and helping to improve the quality of life for all Italians.
He's talking the talk. Can he walk the walk? Is this going to work, Josephine? Do you see true signs that the mayonnaise is going to take, as they say in French? It's going to happen.
Well, I think it's a tall order at this point. First of all, Giuseppe Conte will be working with Matteo Salvini, the head of the League. He will be Deputy Prime Minister. And guess what? Luigi Di Maio will also be a Deputy Prime Minister. So we have a troika there at the top. When Giuseppe Conte, this political novice, attends the G7 summit in Canada next week, I imagine he's going. Who will he be able to speak off his own bat? Will he have to pick up the phone and consult with his deputies to make decisions, to have consultations with President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel? These are the sorts of questions that we really don't know at this point. And what sort of relationship will they have with the European Union? I'm sure there's still a lot of nervousness in Brussels about what this means, even though the populist leaders were trying to play down any sort of threat to the euro. That really simply won't go away just yet. And there have been some very strong messages, some tweets from Matteo Salvini in particular in the last few days saying we will not be slaves to Europe and we're not going to be pushed around by the Germans or the French. So I think we're going to see some battles up ahead.
It sounds to me like it's time for you to get an interview with Giuseppe Conte. He sounds like he's the man of the moment and definitely moving forward. And Josephine, thank you as ever for your insight on the situation there in Italy. It is fast moving. It is incredibly interesting. And I imagine quite infuriating for most of the Italians watching to see what happens and develops and how it's going to affect their lives. But thank you, Josephine, for that briefing on the latest from Rome. Josephine McKenna, our correspondent in Rome.